Swift commented on his techniques as a producer and engineer, stating, "Most of my recording techniques come from looking at photos on the inside of Sly and the Family Stone or Beatles LPs, or from watching Sympathy for the Devil and thinking, oh, that's where they put the mic." Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Audiophiles Follow. My name's John. His name's Andy. It was late last night. I was feeling something wasn't right. There was not another soul in sight. Only you. Only you. So we walked along, though I knew there was something wrong. And the feeling hit me oh so strong about you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. More on that later. But first, we have the serious business of music to listen to. And because it's Friday, yes, you guessed it, fish and chips all around. No, it's a song from one of our wonderful viewers. So this is a special request. The comment was not dropped on an episode, not even in our welcome page. No, it was texted to us by Greg. Hi, Greg. We were talking recently with Greg, and he's up to his usual tricks. I can't divulge any more than that because the authorities might be listening, but he knows what I mean. And Greg has suggested a song for us to listen to, and we sort of flipped a coin, and Andy's got the honor of going off and listen to it, and I get to do all the drudgery of researching people that I don't know anything about. So, Andy, as we've already discussed, the song is by Damien Jurado and Richard Swift, and it is Hello Sunshine. Hello Sunshine.
Hello, Sunshine. Such a bright name. No, this is great. Yeah. I've been sitting on this one for a while because when Greg reached out and suggested it, I kind of wanted to listen to it right away, but I was like, nah, we should incorporate this into one of our request episodes. And honestly, it's wild to say this or think about it, but as long as we've been doing this, I don't think Greg has put forth a direct request with us. And we used to film with him over at Into the Music. If you folks out there don't know who Greg is, yeah, former co-host. He was the main host of Into the Music, and he would allow us on the channel to do some songs with him and each other. And he reached out recently and posited this one, so I am jonesing to go give it a listen, and I will do just that. Oh man, this has really come together fairly quickly in such a lovely way. I mean, really pretty but simple acoustic guitar picking, then this light but still with a fair amount of depth that this bass line comes in. Starts off simple, but as the verse got going, it started to move a little bit more and was very, I mean, for bass, kind of gentle, but really pretty. Um, the vocals come in as this folksy delivery with these stellar harmonies that are accompanying it, this sort of other vocal track or tracks, and the sign of this really pretty, bright, clean electric guitar that's kind of meandering over the strings in kind of this lead motif, if you will. Yeah, this is sounds really pretty. I'm digging this. We're gonna have to take it back. Simple acoustic bass comes in. Simple beat.
Well, hello, sunshine, shining on the
winds. Some woodwind.
Hello, sunshine. I feel fine. I've got to go now. Oh, now. Singing, trying. Everything is off my mind.
So pretty. That descending bit. It's like a butterfly. All right, we're taking that back. I need to hear that again. That like lilty little bit, the fluttering bit sounded like a butterfly taking flight or something. Oh my gosh, that was great. Let's see here. There, that. Oh, it's so pretty.
Well, hello, sunshine. I feel fine. I've got to go now. Oh, now. Singing, trying. Everything is off my mind.
Descending. Oh my God. That was so it's just so beautiful. I mean, the every bit of that song, and John does this a lot. We both do this a lot, right? Where we'll hear a song and then a scene will unfold before us. Often, usually natural scenes. And this has that quality to it, where I'm just like open fields of tall grass and like the occasional tree popping up here and there, casting shade. These motifs on the guitar, like that fluttering, made me think of a butterfly coming off one of those blades of grass and ascending to the air. It's just so easy to translate the sound to a visual for me, and that's definitely what I'm getting. Those harmonies are so interesting. The singer's got more of this conventional, straightforward voice, but that sort of higher, slightly nasally registered harmony that was along for the ride added so much interesting depth to the vocals in this track. Very simple rhythm section, but my God, it kept everything together. And it really allowed the smoothest of canvas for that guitar to paint its picture. I also love the sound of an acoustic guitar's chords being strummed. There's all this added sort of sound and vibrations and interesting frequencies that go along with that. And that was like shining through while this like polished ass sounding lead guitar played its motif over top of that. And that it had an interesting dynamic going on. Yeah, just a really, really good song. I'm glad Greg reached out and recommended this one to me. There, I don't know, it's definitely got that sort of folk rock kind of quality to it that I'm a sucker for. So great suggestion, great song. I'm probably going to listen to this another 20 times in the next 2 days. And this thing is going to be definitely part of my regular rotation. But I'm interested to learn more about, I assume, just these two gentlemen, Damien and Richard, and hopefully John can fill in the gaps for me. So let's get back to them.
Shatner's bassoon. He's back. So you've had a listen to Hello Sunshine. I'm gonna say it like that all the time. What did you reckon?
I reckon that I really, really enjoyed this. And it's not just because it was like Greg that suggested it or anything. I think he knew that we would probably, at least one of us would enjoy this track, and probably both of us, and for good reason. I mean, my first question was like, I wonder when this came out because like it has a sound to it of like an earlier era than the current, sort of taste du jour of what we're hearing out on, released on a regular basis. Kind of this like folksy early 70s kind of sound to it. That I came up listening to a lot of that kind of stuff anyway because of my old man. So this was instantly felt like kind of like a warm hug, especially when those vocals hit. But before that, it just starts with this beautiful but simple like acoustic guitar, and then you get introduced to this like light but very well fitting and rich toned bass work. But again, simple beat also joins that afterwards. And then we get kind of that folksy vocal delivery that's also accompanied by like some really stellar harmonies that come in, and there's this interesting dynamic between what I assume. I mean, it's two people, so I assume two voices. It's definitely multiple vocal tracks. And I love how they're meshing together. The one that's sort of the main vocalist, if you will, is a bit more straightforward and conventional. The other has kind of its own sort of slightly nasally tone to it. It's a little higher. But I love the way that they fit so well together and sounded so great together. Then enters this really the star of the whole damn show, this really bright, clean electric guitar motif. I assume it's electric guitar. It sounds so smooth. It doesn't have kind of the charming clunkiness that an acoustic neck, like you can hear every move on an acoustic neck. You know what I mean? A really good electric, you're not hearing all the motions and movement across it like you do with an acoustic. Which again is part of the charm. I think you and I have talked about this at length whenever an acoustic guitar is feared. We enjoy that sound. Um, but yeah, this electric guitar creates this beautiful melody, and it's wonderfully on display. And beyond the 1 minute mark is really when it shines, sort of less as like an accompanying player and more of like a featured player at this point, because everything kind of falls back a little bit. There's no vocals. It kind of just lets it shine. And all these notes just kind of cascade forth and they're all like bouncing off one another. And every so often there's this slight bend and twang on the notes. And that gives it, I don't know, it almost gives it its own little identity at that point. Instead of sounding so manufactured in its perfection, these bends and a little bit of like twang to the guitar gives it this, I don't know, this uniqueness, or its own sort of identity, like I said. And I think just before the vocals return, I catch a bit of woodwind for the first time, and I don't know if it's the first time it's happening or the first time I'm noticing it, but it's like these breaths of woodwind instrument that are happening. And it just adds this more gentle airiness to the song. And it was just such a gorgeous touch that it just makes perfect sense once you hear it. You're like, oh, this was made to fit here. And again, the lyrics are delivered and we're treated to more excellent guitar picking, which reaches the pristine bit of like the fluttering notation around the 158 marker. And good God, it's just so fucking pretty. It's like the soundtrack to a butterfly ascending in the stillness of a spring morning, like just taking flight. And I loved that because all of this adds to the scenery that's kind of unfolding in my mind's eye as I listen to this. Which is something that you and I have both do, and I think we've said is a good sign of a song when it starts to paint a visual picture for you, which this was doing in droves. I mean, so natural and pastoral the kind of vibes I got from listening to this music. And the singer delivers that repeated line throughout the song one last time. Everything is off my mind. And the sound of the woodwind, the strummed chords of the acoustic, the simple and almost shuffled beat of the drums act again as this canvas on which this lead guitar bit can paint. And it sounds so goddamn gorgeous. And within it, there is now this descending, perfectly restrained motif, played over and over again, like the lightest of rain showers, gently pouring over the song until we are treated to the ever so slightly pronounced strum of the acoustic, and this sort of resonant but almost pulsating woodwind that we were getting earlier. And the song was just so pretty and light and had more than just a touch of natural ambiance to it. It would be like the soundtrack to a pastoral scene or setting of a sprawling field with sparsely placed trees under which you could seek refuge in the shade. It was just so lovely and pretty and natural sounding. And again, these guys' voices sounded really, really great together. If I assume correctly that these were two gentlemen harmonizing with one another. But it had a really calming, almost therapeutic kind of sound to it, that I found really engaging and kind of like in its own way, like therapeutic and mind melting. So I really loved the song a lot. I'm going to be listening to this quite a bit, I would imagine.
Yeah. I'll get into it in a second, but I will say about this song, it's very beautiful, and it's got that quality of being. It's not maybe fashionable to say, but being heartfelt, and it's
Yeah.
one of those qualities which you cannot mimic or pretend, and it's reciprocal as well. You listen to it and you feel the same way. Yeah, just quality stuff. I don't know exactly which one was which on this, but I've got some info which hopefully should shed some light on this.
Okay.
So, Damien Jurado is an American singer-songwriter from Seattle, Washington, United States of America. His solo career began in the mid-90s, and he released lo-fi folk based recordings on his own cassette-only label. This is proper lo-fi stuff. Casa Recordings. He gained a sort of local cult following in Seattle, and that somehow got his the attention of Sub Pop Records. He was brought to their attention by Sunny Day real estate singer Jeremy Ennick. It looks like I've hit a lot of keys at the same time here, but I believe that is his name. Anyway, after a couple of singles, Sub Pop released his first full album, Waters Av S, in 1997. Just a bit of interest. He often makes use of found sound and field recording techniques and has experimented with different forms of tape recordings. In 2000, he released Postcards and Audio Letters, a collection of found audio letters and fragments that he found from sources such as thrift store tape players and answering machines. So he's buying all these secondhand, thrown away stuff. Oh, hello, Marjorie. I've left, I left you shopping by the back door. And he's like, whatever. I've never heard it, but it's really interesting to sort of found, recordings like that. So. Anyway, he released another 4 albums with Sub Pop, and then he moved to secretly Canadian label in 2003. After 4 albums with them, he toured his 2010 album, St. Bartlett, with KK and his Weathered Underground.
How about it?
The album was the first of a few collaborations with label mate Richard Swift. So Swift produced 3 more albums for Jurado before they released a collection of covers, Other People's Songs Volume 1. Now, it was actually originally released in 2010 as a free download, I think in Bandcamp or whatever, and then they stopped that, and then they released it physically in 2016. So the album is a collection of covers that was recorded over the weekend of August 21st, 22nd, 2010. With the aid of a 4-track cassette recorder and a Coles 4038 ribbon microphone. And it includes songs by Kraftwerk, Bill Fay, Yes, John Denver, and Chubby Checker.
Wow.
Really eclectic list. So I'll go down the list of which they were and everything, so you get an idea. Be Not So Fearful by Bill Fay. Hello Sunshine by Relatively Clean Rivers. Sweetness by Yes. Sincere Replies by O Calcutta, original Broadway cast. If the Sun Stops Shining by Chubby Checker. Follow Me by John Denver. Outside My Window by the Fleetwoods. Radioactivity by Kraftwerk. and Crazy Like a Fox by Link Cromwell and the Zoo. So I found this really interesting interview, which Richard Swift did with a website called Aquarium Drunkard. And he said this about the track, Hello Sunshine. He went through track by track, but we haven't got a couple of hours. But this is what he said about Hello Sunshine, originally by Relatively Clean Waters on their self-titled 1976 album. I'm not going to name drop Jeff Tweedy's name because I'm better than that, but a certain singer-songwriter who plays in a band I once toured with turned me on to this band a few years ago, and I've been obsessed ever since. You can hear a distinct similarity between this song and Wilco's equally hypnotic You Are My Face. We decided to leave out the seagull stroke oceanside sound effects in the original, but we were tempted. There's a really great guitar riff noodle that weaves through the original, and neither Damien nor myself were capable of such tasty riffdom at this time. Like I mentioned before, guitarist Josh Ottom was in my studio mixing, so naturally his talents were enlisted. This is the electric guitar bit that you really liked. He learnt the entire set of guitar parts in 12 minutes, started recording in the 13th. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, to learn it and then regurgitate it in a matter of 15 minutes, give or take.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible.
Well, he just obviously clicked in his head, oh, this is how this works. And it obviously just,
But there's
people have
all
brains
this
like that.
There's a lot of variance in what the guitar is doing, because in one point it does this like ascending stuff, and then in another part it does that descending motif, and just to master that and to recall when in the song that they're featured, and it just sounds so good. And it's interesting to hear that wildly. It's interesting to hear that it's a cover, because I didn't know that going into this. I just thought it was their song.
Yeah.
But like, to hear that it's a cover out of the time that I thought this version of the song was from is a testament to what good of a job they did capturing the sort of essence of the original version and sort of the era in which it was written. Because man, this thing, you could have told me that this is a remastered version recorded in 75 or something like that, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
So
I think that was
incredible shit.
The kind of aim of the album was to do songs of that sort of late 60s or 70s period in a folksy style. And even if they're not folksy, like Radioactivity by Kraftwerk, they make them so. So I've not heard any of the other tracks, but I'm really interested to go off and listen to them. But yeah, so Exclaim magazine said Other People's Songs is ultimately a passion project, the sound of two music-loving friends pulling out some antiquated recording equipment and just jamming songs out. The warmth these lo-fi recordings emit, though, is felt through and through. And the Irish Times said, take two cult US singer-songwriters, put them together in a tiny studio for a couple of days with a 4-track cassette recorder, a microphone, and a list of songs they always wanted to cover. And the result is brief but enlightening. Pick of the bunch is Hello Sunshine, a psych roots gem of a song. Oddball delights abound. Volume 2 soon, if you don't mind. So I'll get to the lyrics, which are quite short. Well, hello, sunshine, shining on the sand. I've got to go now, oh now, hold my hand. Laying down on the sand. So hello, sunshine, I feel fine. I've got to go now, oh now. Singing, trying, everything is off my mind. So hello, sunshine, I feel fine. I've got to go now, oh now. Singing, trying, everything is off my mind. Extended guitar solo with added flute, I put in my notes. Well, hello, sunshine, I feel fine. I've got to go now, oh now. Singing, trying, everything is off my mind. And I put here, more guitar goodness and flute takes us out. So there you go. Just the other player in. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say there is this I don't know, the optimism to this song in the lyrics and the feel now.
Yeah. It's quite hippie-ish, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. But it's funny because there's allusions to the beach that I wasn't catching, and I was getting visions of another natural sort of setting. but I was like, there were you made the comment about cutting out the sound of the seagulls or whatever. But in my version, in my head, I did hear like, oh, what if they added birds chirping or like the hum of crickets in the distance because it just has this natural sound to it. I don't know if the hippiness took me over listening to this and they got me
Sounds
subliminally or
like
not,
it.
but oh man, it was a great listen, man.
Hello, Mr. Bluebird. Anyway, so the other protagonist in this, Richard Swift,
Mm.
American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentist, producer, and short film maker. The films are short, not the maker. So, born Ricardo Ochoa in California in 1977. He was part of a musical Quaker family and started performing and singing in churches at an early age. Swift released his first solo album in 2000 under the name Dickie Ochoa. He then moved to California and 8 more studio albums followed. In 2007, Swift met Wilco frontman Jeff Tweedy, but he won't tell you about it, during a taping of the BBC programme Later with Jules Holland. It
Wow.
all comes together. Tweedy asked Swift to support Wilco on their Sky Blue Sky US tour. Swift was also the founder, owner, and recording engineer of National Freedom, a recording studio located in Oregon, and worked as a producer, collaborator, and muse, and influencer to many, many acts, including Fleet Foxes and Gusta. In a 2007 interview, Swift commented on his techniques as a producer and engineer, stating, "Most of my recording techniques come from looking at photos on the inside of Sly and the Family Stone or Beatles LPs, or from watching Sympathy for the Devil and thinking, oh, that's where they put the mic." Swift is known to often provide hefty contributions as a multi-instrumentalist to the albums he produces. In 2009, he began spending more time working with other artists as a producer and band member. So in 2010, Swift co-produced Letitia Sadier's album, The Trip. She's the female main singer from Stereolab. He joined the Shins in 2011 and began touring with the Black Keys as their bassist in 2014. In 2015, he produced the self-titled album for Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. So yeah, a lot of people that we've encountered before.
Geez, 1 degree of separation from like
Yeah.
at least a dozen artists that we've featured on this channel. It's incredible.
We should really know this guy.
Probably read his name like passively when we've been doing research before and not connected the dots here. That's incredible. It's nice to finally not knowing that there's a blind spot and filling that in and how it has this like effect, this ripple effect.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, on June the 19th, 2018, Pitchfork reported that Swift had been hospitalized in Tacoma, Washington, recovering from an undisclosed life-threatening condition, and that a GoFundMe had been set up to help cover his medical expenses. He died on July the 3rd, 2018 in Tacoma. 6 days later, Swift's family released a statement confirming that he had suffered from alcohol addiction throughout his life, and his death was ultimately caused by related complications from hepatitis as well as liver and kidney distress. He was 41 years old. Yeah, it's a real shame because, I mean, hell of a guy, and, you know, the way he's touched things. I mean, playing with the Shins and Black Keys and all that. Oh, amazing. Just to go back to the first guy, to Damien Jurado, he has released many more studio albums since, the latest being his 22nd long player called Roger's Audition, semicolon, the Reggae Film Star Demos in January of this year. So he's still going strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like they were friends. They worked together, collaborated, and then went and locked away themselves in a log cabin or something and crappy old cassette and just knocked out some tunes. And yeah, we've got this wonderful, wonderful track. So it's brilliant the way things happen sometimes, isn't it? And,
yeah, it is. And it is. And it's interesting how music can land in your lap. So yeah, great recommendation by Greg. I really enjoyed this one. It sounds like you were also a big fan of it too. And it's just really cool. I don't know if he even knew this, but how it connects to so many artists that we've talked about. That's really, really neat to kind of fill in that that blank. So yeah, great shout. Really good tune. I really enjoyed this
Yeah.
one.
Yep, definitely. Thanks, Greg. I will be speaking to you later about this. I'll wrap things up. Thanks so much, Andy. Thanks again, Greg. Folks out there, tell us what you think. If you're familiar with these two artists that we weren't but should have been, if you're familiar with this album or this track, anyone who's heard the rest of the songs of this album, I'd love to. I'm really interested to hear what that radioactive sounds like. But yeah, please drop us some comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this, please do slap your hefty paw on the like button. We need all the help we can get. Coincidentally as well, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Really appreciate everybody supports the channel. And also, I'm not going to give out my number. I might give out Andy's number if you want to text us. But the traditional way is to drop a comment in one of the episodes, and you too could see your choice on a Friday here. It will be added to the list. That's about as much of a guarantee as we can say, because we are going through it one day at a time, as they say. But we will get to it eventually, probably, maybe, definitely. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.